pleasure to introduce our current past president, who I had the pleasure to work with for his years on the executive committee. He is an amazing individual to visit his district. Truly is an incredible experience, because I don't know if Lars is going to say this up here, but I'm going to say it. The kids he serves in his district of Hampton Bays are the kids that end up working for those people that we hear about in the Hamptons. And it is an amazing district. They have an amazing leader, and we've been fortunate to have him as our president last year and our current past president. From Hampton Bays, where the sun rises in New York State, many Hamptons, one bay, Lars Clemensen.
I want to start by expressing tremendous gratitude and congratulations to our president, Dr. Donna Desiato, on a remarkable 3 days of learning and connecting. Thank you. I think we are all going to leave today standing a little taller and leaning a little deeper into the responsibility and the opportunity that we have. So thank you for putting this time together for us. Tremendous amount of work. Thank you to T and the entire staff. I think there's a lot of people in this room who are going to sleep well tonight. It's an honor to stand before you today to say thank you for my time as the president of the council. It's an incredible community that I feel very privileged to be a part of. As I move into the role of past president, I do so benefiting from the continued evolution of this great organization under Donna's leadership, as we saw this weekend. I owe my thanks to the past presidents of NYSCOSS as well for tapping me on the shoulder, for saying get involved, join a committee, and ultimately to stand here today. So I think about Sunday's keynote and Joe's talking about the opportunity that we have as leaders. He talked about the lists on Sunday afternoon. We execute, we deliver, we operationalize, we line things up, we break things down. But we get to do more than that as school system leaders. We get to think, we get to comment, we get to connect. And it's not cliche when we as superintendents talk about these times, the importance of the moment. These are urgent times, politically, socially, culturally, fill in the blank, it's urgent. Everything is urgent, and it makes our list feel horizontal, where everything is fighting for the first spot on your list to do. It can make us feel like that girl on Joe's slide the other day, not the middle finger girl, the one that's being dragged around that carousel. And so I rejoice in sharing what I heard more than a few times over the last 72 hours. My bucket is filled, I needed this, I see that differently now, I'm glad I came. I'm glad you came too. I'm glad you showed up. And that's what we're expected to do every day in our communities, to show up with our best self, even when it seems like you haven't seen that best self in a while. Even when you feel like you might have left your best self with colleagues here in Saratoga Springs as you head home. We show up because the expectations that our communities have of us and the sense of duty and responsibility that we hold for ourselves. That's why we show up. So the world is urgent. The times are tense. The world is high stakes. But the consequences are higher than that. The consequence of not showing up is a matter of two very different futures that would face our kids and our communities. The consequence of not showing up, of saying the barriers are too steep, the outlook is too pessimistic, the consequences of not showing up mean the difference between two futures for our kids and our communities. Those are the stakes. And so in this moment of consequence, I want to share with you a commitment I'm leaving with today. It's a commitment that I'm going to try to reframe the way that I look at some of the most difficult issues and difficult people and difficult interactions that our society is struggling so hard to navigate right now. And it's this notion of showing up. I'm going to show up to the conversation, to the kid, to the family, both in their time of need and in their time to celebrate. I'm going to show up with the best I have, and more importantly, the lens that I'm going to ask others to look through is to assume and be generous in the idea that they're showing up with their best as well. This growing noise of anger and conflict, of violence and controversy is loud. And because I'm reminding myself also that interactions are not zero-sum, I find that empowering. There doesn't have to be a winner and a loser. There doesn't have to be one who walks away corrected or shown or defeated. We can have dialogue over debate. We can avoid the urge to defeat when we disagree. And we do that every day. We do that every day. We can commit to one another to hold our communities to that standard as well. The consequence of not showing up with our best and assuming that in others means the difference of what the future holds for our kids. Extending that generosity to others will advance the work. The times and stakes aren't just consequential for us. It's true for everyone. Anybody who grocery shops or worries about making the bills this month or saving for college or the state of the world. The carousel is dragging us all around. But if we shift that mindset, if we start at every conversation, every interaction, every day when we get up, to assume that those who we interact with are doing their best too. They're showing up with the best they have. Not assuming they're lazy or malicious or difficult, not jumping to conclusions about motivations, but simply starting from the premise that they've done their very best to get to where you are today. It brings us to a place of empathy and connection far more easily than we might have imagined. It disarms defensiveness. It opens doors to understanding. Because we all know what it's like to have an off day, to carry burdens that no one else can see, to feel like we're just treading water. When we extend that grace to others, trust builds. We show up for them just as they'll show up for us, as we hope. And maybe that's the secret ingredient, empathy and connection. Some might even call it the super sauce. Some might. These are the last few minutes the council allows me to have the microphone, and I appreciate the opportunity to share these thoughts. It's the product of what I receive as being a member of the council, of what I learned from our members and colleagues from across the state this past year. How every single day, and in so many ways that aren't seen, you show up with your best in places and for people who need it the most. I want to join Chuck in thanking the amazing council staff. You show up for us every day, tirelessly, behind the scenes to support every initiative, program, and community we serve. You anticipate our needs and allow us the empowerment to do our work in our communities. I want to thank the membership. We don't just show up, we engage. We don't just pay dues. We volunteer our time, our expertise, we share our successes, and we workshop our problems together. You bring the council's activities to life. Our partners show up in profound ways, using their vision and business model to amplify our impact. Thank you. And to our partners at the State Education Department, Commissioner Rosa and your team, thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this work, to give voice through the policy and the regulation that comes from the department to ensure it's guided by the lived experiences in the field. Let's lead with empathy. Let's connect with grace. Let's continue to be an organization that doesn't just do good work, but the organization that sees the good in those we serve. Dr. Desiato, thank you again on 3 tremendous days. Dr. Bossert, for all the work and planning going into next year as we continue to pick up momentum. It's been a real privilege to serve as your president. Thank you.